semester, the electrical engineering, a chemical engineering student, they took a responsibility to understand what the village want. So there were two group of students, almost like 15 students. They enter into the village and they did the internship with us. So this is with the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, which has been backed by IIT Delhi. Since I'm the alumni of IIT Delhi, so it was easy for me to connect those people, and also the student here. I'm very much hopeful that by this venture or this seminar, our junior would be interested to take this social entrepreneurship. They have a social entrepreneurship. So every year in this after completion of a second semester, they have to go to the village and try to understand what they want and what technological support or intervention we can give. So this is all about the entire picture of this workshop. I wanted to prepare a brigade and a team, a comrade, we call it, to support each other. And of course, in this journey, in this endeavor, a blessing and support like you would be very much required. And I'm very happy, Nagarajan sir is always there, very much active participant. And thank you. I'm very much thankful that in every day he throw and guide other participant also in the line which we have to move. The participants here are of all range, not only from student of Assam, but they are from the other part of a country. Like for example, you can very well understood by the name. Nagarajan is not from this part, probably in Tamil Nadu, if I recall correctly. So he's from there, and not only from there, but we have Bangalore, also in Karnataka, of course, and then a certain part of Jharkhand also there. We have a participant from all across the country, but that is very small, like 10% probably. So we have a registration of almost like 200. But every day there is a up and down fluctuation of nearly 80 plus 200. The initial day where our Mirnar Talukdar sir was there, that day we have almost like 100 plus participants or 112 participants, and then gradually the day we get little bit lower. Okay, now so we have already waited for 5 minutes, so it's now 11:05. And we have already 60 plus participants. So team, may I request to come forward to introduce the speaker. Of course, a speaker doesn't need introduction, but some of our young people need it. So please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Nilakshi.
What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. A very warm good morning to one and all present here. Our guest of honor, Mr. Samir Baruah, sir, mentor and advisor, Laghu Udyog Bharti Northeast. Dr. Medelson Ronghang, sir, coordinator Unnat Bharat Abhiyan and Smart Village Lab, faculties and students from different colleges, juniors, and all my dear friends. Welcome to the third day of our one-week workshop cum seminar, Smart Villages by Intervention and Visible Solution, jointly organized by Smart Village Lab Local Chapter, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan Unit, Bineshwar Brahma Engineering College and University of Melbourne. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Samir Baruah, our speaker for today's seminar. Mr. Samir Baruah completed his schooling from Don Bosco School, Guwahati. He graduated with honors in economics with statistics and mathematics from Cotton College, Guwahati. He has been working since 40 years in the Indian banking industry. He is the former corporate general manager in Indian Overseas Bank and director at Assam Power Generation Corporation. Presently a key mentor accredited by City and Guilds London. He is also associated with Bharat Yuva Shakti Trust, advisor at Laghu Udyog Bharti and Startup Assam, mission director of United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, MPRETEC. He is also a PhD research scholar at Krishnakanta Hendik State Open University. Thank you, sir. We are blessed that you are here among us and fortunate enough to get knowledge from you. Now, I would like to request Samir, sir, to please further continue the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you to Professor Medelson also for giving me a brief introduction about the objectives. And I would start by thanking the organizers of this online workshop cum webinar on the topic Smart Villages by Intervention and Visible Solutions, organized by Smart Villages Lab, local chapter of Samir Baruah Engineering College, Kokrajhar. My special thanks to Dr. Hemant Duloi, professor in the prestigious University of Melbourne, who has been taking keen interest in developing the rural sector of Assam, despite remaining in Australia. It is our joint responsibility in creating a congenial investment climate and in developing the entrepreneurial temperament which would enthuse and encourage our non-resident Indians staying abroad and others to invest and promote enterprises in Assam and Northeast. The objective, I understand, is to mainly discuss and focus on making villages smarter and stronger by improving the education, sanitation, housing, implementation of clean water, electricity, microfinance, etc. I appreciate the efforts taken by Samir Baruah Engineering College, Kokrajhar, in collaborating with University of Melbourne, Australia in this regard. It is always a pleasure addressing students who are our future. I myself am a student. There is no end to learning. I have tremendous amount of confidence on our young generation. It is our responsibility to understand the problems being faced by our youths, students, and how we can become the solution provider to such problems. Unfortunately, we remain so tied up with our routine studies and the semesters that we do not or are not able to go beyond routine to look around what are the issues and challenges faced by the economy, both at the macro and microeconomic level. My experience of addressing large number of students in various engineering and management institutes of repute in the country, including some of the IITs, has given me the impression that the student community, while being sharp in their studies, virtually remain disconnected with the local and global economic issues and challenges. Since we are in the very dynamic situation under imperfect conditions, it is all the more necessary for us as students to keep our eyes and ears open. The name of the game is seizing of opportunities. Opportunities are galore and all around, and all that is required is one-upmanship with enterprising abilities. Thanks to the interest taken by government in skilling India and paving the way for transforming job seekers into job creators, our student community, more so our engineering students, must open up to the idea of starting their own enterprises and startups. Whatever we do, finance is the catalyst. Access to finance is one of the biggest issues before the prospective entrepreneurs. They therefore must become financially literate and have a broad overview of financial accounting, financial management, and financial discipline. I have observed that financial accounting is our weak link, and because of which 90% of our micro enterprises are even today remaining in the unorganized sector, the informal sector. This is something alarming, as these enterprises are not able to raise finance from the organized banking industry. They therefore are virtually remaining under the clutches of the indigenous money lenders and remaining at the subsistence level, not able to scale up their business operations. I am pleased that the Institute is concerned and have given me an opportunity to speak on microfinance and rural development. The subject is very wide and deep, and therefore I may not be able to do justice in covering within the stipulated time. I have therefore decided to broadly touch upon the genesis and some aspects of microfinance and rural development. In raw form, microfinance has been in existence in India from time immemorial. We had the indigenous money lenders in the villages and also in towns who extended financial assistance in camera with their own set of norms, heavily loaded in favor of the lender and the beneficiary virtually remaining bonded in the clutches of the money lender. We had seen during our childhood days the existence of the Kabuliwalas working as money lenders. very ruthless in case of any default. Still vividly recollecting in 1963, when I was a boy reading in class 6, seeing a kabliwala mercilessly beating a borrower in the main police bazaar locality of Chiraw, and not able to erase that memory. Such was the nature and content of microfinance in that era. In the villages also, there used to be indigenous money lenders lending at exorbitant rates like 60% and keeping the poor individual in virtual custody and finally seizing whatever property he had. The present generation has to have a feel of the pathetic condition of the poor and marginalized sector of the economy in order to address such issues and come out with solutions to make the poor people free from such indebtedness. Role of banks. The banking industry in India had the onerous responsibility in providing microfinance to the needy people. However, despite best effort, they had limitations in outreach, norms, compliance, and documentation, which the common people found it difficult to comply. Banking in India was mostly confined to the prosperous section of the society. There was class banking, and banks were virtually out of reach of the masses. On 19th of July 1969, a very bold decision was taken by the government of India to nationalize 14 private sector banks in the country, a step towards mass banking. Since the middle of 60s, there was a lot of debate and discussions on the need for social control over the banks so as to make the private sector banks responsible in carrying out social banking apart from the normal commercial banking. That effort did not succeed to the extent desirable. The nationalization of the 14 banks heralded a new chapter in the banking history of the country. This initiative of the government was closely followed by Reserve Bank of India stepping in to formulate regulations which included the defining of the priority sector mainly comprising of the agriculture and small-scale industries, etc. Introduction of the lead bank scheme, Government of India's 20-point program, integrated rural development program, etc. was introduced. There was a massive horizontal expansion of the banking sector reaching out to the hitherto unbanked areas. Lead bank scheme was introduced with service area approach, making it compulsory for all rural branches of banks to cover a certain number of villages for special dispensation. However, as commercial banks with an eye on profit, they were not able to adequately provide larger manpower and infrastructure in the rural branches, as that will add to the number of loss-making branches. The irony is this, that while villages have been ceded to the commercial banks for special dispensation, they were not able to adequately cater to the needs of the villages. The indigenous moneylenders were very flexible and had greater and easier reach to the local people and were able to provide finance instantly at the time of their need, and therefore despite their charging very high rate of interest, due to easy accessibility and lesser formalities, they were preferred. Microfinance has grown rapidly over the past few decades. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus is credited with laying the foundation of the modern microfinance institutions with establishment of Grameen Bank Bangladesh in 1976. Today, it has evolved into a vibrant industry exhibiting a variety of business models. Microfinance institutions in India exist as NGOs, registered as societies or trusts, Section 25 companies, and non-banking financial companies. Commercial banks, regional have played an important role in providing refinance facilities to the microfinance institutions. Banks have also leveraged their self-help group channels to provide direct credit to group borrowers. With financial inclusion emerging as a major policy objective in the country, microfinance has occupied center stage as a promising conduit for extending financial services to unbanked sections of population. At the same time, Practices followed by certain lenders have subjected the sector to greater scrutiny and need for stricter regulations. The salient features of microfinance are: borrowers are from the low income group, loans are of small amount, micro loans, short duration loans, loans are offered without collaterals, high frequency of repayment, loans are generally taken for income generation purposes. Gaps in financial system and need for microfinance. According to the latest research done by the World Bank, India is home to almost 1/3 of the world's poor, surviving on an equivalent of $1 a day. Though many central government and state government poverty alleviation programs are currently active in India, microfinance plays a major contributor to financial inclusion. In the past few decades, it has helped out remarkably in eradicating poverty. Reports show that people who have taken microfinance have been able to increase their incomes and hence the standard of living. The Task Force on Supportive Policy and a Regulatory Framework for Microfinance set up by NABARD in 1999 provided various recommendations. Accordingly, it was decided to exempt non-banking financial companies which are engaged in microfinance activities licensed under Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013 and which do not accept public deposits from the purview of Section 45(1)(a) registration, 45(1)(b) maintenance of liquid assets, and 45(1)(c) transfer of profits to a reserve fund of the RBI Act 1984. Channels of microfinance. In India, microfinance operates through two channels. One is the self-help group bank linkage program. Other is the microfinance institutions. Under the bank linkage program, this is the bank-led microfinance channels which was initiated by NABARD in 1992. Under the self-help group model, the members, usually women in villages, are encouraged to form groups of around 10 to 15. The members contribute their savings in the group periodically, and from this savings, small loans are provided to the members. In the later period, these SHGs are provided with bank loans, generally for income generation purpose. The group's members meet periodically when the new savings comes in. Recovery of past loans are made from the members and also new loans are disbursed. This model has been very successful in the past, and with time it is becoming more popular. The self-help groups are self-sustaining, and once the group becomes stable, it starts working on its own with some support from other NGOs. Microfinance institutions. Those institutions which have microfinance as their main operation are known as microfinance institutions. A number of organizations with varied size and legal forms offer microfinance service. These institutions lend through the concept of joint liability group. A joint liability group is an informal group comprising 5 to 10 individual members who come together for the purpose of availing bank loans, either individually or through the group mechanism against a mutual guarantee. Reserve Bank of India from time to time is the regulator of the microfinance institutions, and they are also issuing directives from time to time. Normally, the microfinance used to be in small amounts, and there was a certain cap. Like it was initially 30 to 50,000, and from 50,000 it was raised. From time to time, Reserve Bank looks into the subject, and then they come out with their directives. On October 4, 2019, the Reserve Bank of India has raised the lending cap for microfinance institutions to rupees 1.25 lakh against the earlier limit of rupees 1 lakh to improve credit availability in rural and semi-urban areas. It has also been decided to increase the household income limit for borrowers of non-banking financial companies, microfinance institutions, from the current level of rupees 1 lakh for rural areas and rupees 1.60 lakh for urban and semi-urban areas to rupees 1.25 lakh and rupees 2 lakh respectively. Taking into consideration the important role played by the microfinance institutions in delivering credit to those in the bottom of the economic pyramid and enable them to play their assigned role in growing economy, the Reserve Bank of India had observed and regulatory policies. The income and loan limits to classify an exposure as eligible assets were last revised in 2015. It is to be noted that the subcommittee of the Central Board of the Reserve Bank under the chairmanship of Y.H. Maligam was constituted to study issues and concerns in the sector in the wake of Andhra Pradesh microfinance crisis in 2010. Based on the recommendations of the committee, it was decided to create a separate category of non-banking financial companies, microfinance institutions, and a detailed regulatory framework for NBFCs and MFIs was put in place in December 2011. Microfinance operations in Northeast. I am pleased to inform you that I was in discussion with the executive director of NetFi, and he was very kind enough to give me certain inputs on microfinance operation in Northeast. Northeast region is one of the potential area for microfinance operations. Microfinance growth rate in the region is one of the highest in the country during the last 2-3 years. Operation impacted during the microfinance crisis in Upper Assam, followed by strong protests related with CAA. However, due to the limited numbers of homegrown MFIs of the region, the growth of the sector in the region is attributed to many banks, state finance banks, then small finance banks, then non-banking financial companies, microfinance institutions, and NBFCs from outside the region. As per data obtained from Sadhan, MFIN, there is no proper data center on the operations of microfinance available in public domain, as well as Netflix's own database. Following are some of the findings of microfinance operations in Northeastern region. Number of MFIs lenders operating in the region is estimated at 40, with portfolio outstanding of about rupees 20,000 crores. Out of the 40 MFIs, NBFC's MFI has the highest in terms of number with 34, which includes 6 homegrown NBFCs and MFIs, and all are supported by NetFi. Number of banks doing microfinance is 9, but it has the highest portfolio size, which can be estimated at about rupees 12,000 crore. Number of small finance banks operating in the region are 9, out of which Northeastern Small Finance Bank is associated with NetFi. Since they are new in the domain as well as in the region, except Northeastern Small Finance Bank, its portfolio can be roughly estimated at rupees 2,000 crore. Number of NGOs, MFIs are estimated to be 8, out of which 6 are NetFi assisted. Majority of the NGOs, MFIs are operating. Manipur, 5 as per NetFi's data. The portfolio outstanding in this category is about rupees 80 crores. So we can see that there is a lot of contribution of the microfinance sector in the state of Assam and Northeast. And of course, there are certain issues like multiple lending and over indebtedness. These are there. And there are also issues relating to cluster formations, fight to grab established market. Instead of they are venturing into new markets, they are trying to capture the existing market. These are issues which are there. Now, coming to the subject of rural development, I would briefly touch upon certain aspects of it. Even though I am an urbanite, my heart lies in the villages. I have extensively traveled to villages during my tenure of banking service as regional head covering the Northeast India, West Bengal, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Bihar and Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and as general manager in the state of Tamil Nadu with all India and international exposure. The ground reality. During the last 5 years in connection with my PhD research work, I had the privilege of traveling to various districts and villages of Assam. We all are aware that there is no shortage of plans and programs formulated by the government for an inclusive growth of the economy with focus on the villages. I had observed that the representatives of the implementing agencies of the government, by and large, were not staying in the villages. This is, one should note, this is one of the reasons why there has been implementation failure, overshooting time and cost, because of which the rural infrastructure development could not come to the expected level. Dr. Hemanta Doloy, eminent professor of the prestigious University of Melbourne, in his approach paper on smart villages by intervention and visible solutions, had mentioned that 40% of the global population resides in the rural sector. In Assam, as per the Government of India Directorate of Economics and Statistics report, 86% of the population is it okay? Internet speed is okay, fine. I had seen a comment here. Dr. Hemanta Dole, eminent professor of the prestigious University of Melbourne, in his approach paper on smart villages by intervention and visible solutions, has mentioned that 40% of the global population resides in the rural sector. In India, on the average, 75% to 80% still resides in the villages. In Assam, as per the Government of Assam Directorate of Economics and Statistics report, 86% of the population in Assam resides in the villages. The ground reality is this, that while 86% of the population resides in the villages, our education system over the years have displaced our human resources. The scenario is this, that with little education, the village youths are leaving the plow, and with more education, they are leaving the village. The residual population have seemingly lost their self-esteem and somehow carrying out some activities at the subsistence level. They seem to have lost hopes and are in a resigning to fate syndrome. There is a vacuum which is getting filled up by antisocial elements and petty politicians who have virtually every say on matters relating to the villages, keeping in mind their own personal agenda, derailing the overall objective of economic upliftment of the masses. The educated youths and students, therefore, have a large role to play in understanding the various issues and challenges confronting the villages, visit the villages, carry out mapping exercises, surveys, use technology and IT-enabled services to digitize the findings, look for such organizations who would be able to intervene with their core competencies and also under corporate social responsibility to shoulder responsibilities, taking an integrated and holistic view with a sense of belongingness. Spiritual organizations of repute must also step in to cleanse the minds of the people and prepare them to shed inhibitions with conviction, and also enable conflict resolution at the village level so that all the people get together like one family to take the village to the next level of all-round development. We all know very well that this country cannot prosper without the prosperity of the villages. The question is, who will take the ownership? When the educated youths have left the villages and the representatives of the implementing agencies also do not stay in the villages to ensure timely and proper implementation of the various development projects, while the educated youths of the villages are leaving the villages and the city-bred youths are also not inclined to stay and work in the villages, and or if under compulsion they are made to work in the villages, they feel imposed and just carry out the routine mundane work and leave the village. It can as well be visualized how implementing agencies do not remain in the villages and they commute every day long distances, traversing under Indian road conditions and under Indian climatic conditions. By the time they are in the workstation, they are tired with not much energy left to visit the other villages in course of the day to take stock on the implementation of the various programs. There must be a paradigm shift in our approach and content on rural development. We must revisit what was envisaged by late Dr. Abdul Kalam, eminent scientist and former President of India, on the concept of Pura. Pura is providing urban amenities in the rural areas. His theory was further developed in the state of Gujarat, who had come out with their own motto. We cannot achieve growth of the villages by imposition. We need to provide the basic amenities in the villages which would enthuse and induce the representatives of the implementing agencies to stay in the villages, for enabling them to remain in closer touch with the villagers, understand their problems, understand their priorities, and come out with possible solutions and interventions wherever required. Infrastructure, superstructures, healthcare sector, education, financial services, information communication technology, and IT-enabled services can play a vital role in reaching out to the villages. There are a lot of organizations vested with responsibilities on rural development. However, in reality, it is seen that most of these organizations work on a standalone basis and do not as such collaborate. We need to realize that all these organizations will have to collaborate and leverage their core competencies in a win-win situation for an integrated rural development, which will be sustainable. This is food for thought for all our student community, that they will also have to think new and see that they are able to work on transfer of technology and on lab-to-land initiatives as a solution to the problems being faced by the people and the society at large. This will be in conformity with the theme of this 1 week long workshop come seminar on smart villages for intervention and visible solutions. It is appreciated that the Government of India is taking a lot of efforts and initiative in. It is now for the state government and the various organizations and institutions to rise to the occasion and work wholeheartedly with a sense of belongingness. Our villagers are skilled and intelligent. We need to handhold and empower them. Instead of appeasement with a lot of freebies, we must really empower them and raise their level of self-esteem that they can do and thus pave their way for future prosperity. Villages will prosper with involvement of all the stakeholders, and thus villages one day will become the best on rural development and microfinance institutions. I am sharing two of my experiences, and that is one which was implemented in Tamil Nadu, and where the idea behind was developing network economy, village network economy, was to ensure that the wealth of these 20 villages do not go out of these 20 villages, with producer-consumer linkages developed to ensure that all the produce of the 20 villages are consumed within the 20 villages, and the surplus of produce will be marketed outside, and revenue earned will add to the wealth of the 20 villages. In this project, an engineering college was fully involved in assessing the needs and conveniences of the people and the villages, and they accordingly came out with such technology for low-cost housing, sanitation. Instead of use of ceramics, they started using stainless steel toilets. Mechanical engineering department coming out with such stove which give blue flame with wood or any other material. Agriculture research institutes and the students had come forward with lab-to-land programs. Medical college had come forward with healthcare interventions, where health records were converted into smart cards, and entire health record of the villages were fed into a master server in the medical college. And then they started a medical center with telemedicine facilities. The bank came forward with financial inclusion initiative with mobile banking and point of sale machines, so that doorstep banking was made possible. Similarly, other organizations, including scientific organizations, have come forward and offered their specialized services for promotion and development of the villages. This project of 2007 became a huge success, and it sustained its objective. There was all-round development, including the social development, where the villages became drug-free and alcohol-free. Panchayat Academy was set up where all the Panchayat members were trained, motivated, and they became very much involved in carrying out selflessly the developmental activities. Experience says that in any such project, there is need for someone in the village to shoulder extra responsibility in taking forward the mission. Fortunately, in the Kottambakam villages of Tamil Nadu, there was one scientist, Rangaswamy Ilango, who was working as a research officer at the CSIR. He, after working there for a number of years, ultimately decided to come back, leave his job and go back to his village and start something in his own village. He found it extremely difficult initially to enter into his own village, but later on he could succeed, and finally he became the Panchayat president, and he came out with this Panchayat Academy. And through the Panchayat Academy, he was, and in the meantime, they've taken a lot of initiative in the fields of various activities they have taken up. For example, planting trees, desilting of drinking water, construction of dwelling houses, formation of health clubs, imparting agriculture knowledge, promoting micro industries involving self-help groups, imparting, developing rural tourism. So these, you'll be glad to know, day before yesterday, I received a report from him, from Rangaswamy Ilango, giving a detailed report on the activities of the Panchayat and also on the activities of the villages. And he said that what was started in 2010 and today on 12th of September 2020, the whole project is going fine. And this was appreciated, this activity was appreciated by no less a person than Dr. Abdul Kalam. And in his book, The 3 Billion, they have made a mention of this whole project. And I, from the bank side, I was involved in this whole project. Second is, I will just share an experience on a microfinance institution experience that was in Mirzapur district of Uttar Pradesh in the year 2004. We undertook a project of financially assisting more than 30,000 villagers through a microfinance institution named CASFOR, with an outlay of around rupees 5 crores, and it became a roaring success. Here also, I am glad to say that yesterday, on 13th of September 2020, after 17 years, I obtained a report from CASFOR MFI, who have increased their activities manifold, and they had ensured proper use of the financial assistance provided to the villagers. And I'm pleased to say that they had repaid the full loan with no NPA. In 2004, they had charged interest at a 30% rate of interest, and today they charge at 18.50 interest. The best part of this microfinance institution is that they are able to reach out to the people. These two success stories justifies that there is a very important role of microfinance in rural development. And as a holistic view, and see how it is possible on our part to bring about all-round development of the villages. I would request questions if you have any, and then anything further we'd like to discuss, we can do that. And the subject is very wide. Actually, subject is very wide, and it can have so many aspects of it. But fundamentally, we have understood one thing, that if the villages do not prosper, this country cannot prosper. To ensure that modern amenities, providing urban amenities in the rural areas is very important. I had posed the question before the participants, before the students, through Padmini. I said that you as a young girl, say tomorrow you are in a job, or you are in a project, and you are directed that you go to such and such village, you stay there and work. What will be your immediate reaction to that? Padmini gave me very good answers. She was so concerned about the poor people. She was concerned about they will go and do this, do that, etc. in the village and bring about a lot of the etc. That was very nice on her part. But still I asked that you have not answered to my question. This question I am posing before all the young prospective engineers. If tomorrow you are asked suddenly that you go and stay in the village, such of those who are not staying in the villages, such of those who are staying in cities and then have been brought up in a very in a city environment, suddenly being asked to go and stay in the villages and work, what will be your reaction? I would expect a reply from you in your chat box. In your chat box, you can leave there. In essence, what I'm trying to say is this: we have to go back to the primary school and understand what we learned in the primary school. We learned plus, minus, multiplication, division in arithmetic. And thereafter, what did we learn? This question I posed before a large number of students. I'm sorry to say that we're giving very complex sort of answers. Then I said, let us go back to basics and try and visualize what we learned after plus, minus, multiplication, division is the problem. After that, we were taught simplification. That you simplify the problem, solve the problem. So my humble appeal before the student community, that in today's context, also it is applicable that when we face a problem, we will have to simplify the problem. But most of us, what we do, we amplify the problem and we fail miserably. So simplicity, understanding simplicity or simplifying the problem. When you go to the village, I'm very glad Professor Middleton has told me that 5 villages have been adopted by your institute. I said I would like to be involved in that. Then what are the activities, the mapping exercise that was carried out, but unfortunately because of COVID, I think it could not be continued long. Anyway, let us hope that this COVID thing comes, it gets over so that we are able to, in physical form, in contact form, we are able to come closer and then deliberate, come out with some comprehensive rural development program, and also find out at the same time what are the interventions that is required in order to take the villages into the next orbit. Any questions, anything you would like to know? Since if you have, then in that case, I think we have some time available, isn't it? Yes. Who is there? Padmini?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, any
Yes.
questions?
Sir, the question.
There are 2 questions in the chat box.
Okay, Padmini, you can read it. You can read,
You read
Okay,
it?
sir.
Yeah.
So the first question is IRDP subsidy loan scheme, very useful, helping many to have own shops and works, but finally closed. Reasons may be explained.
See, as I said, whenever we would like to have anything sustainable, then we must have commitment for it. Under this IRDP program, under this 20-point program, there are classic cases of success stories. See, these are opportunities. What the government is doing through the sponsored programs is giving an opportunity to the youth so that they are able to start, they are able to make a beginning as far as their entrepreneurial journey is concerned. Now, many of them have taken the subject sincerely, but most of them, they thought it's a freebies that we got. It is something which the government has given us. Let us enjoy it. In the process, what had happened, they have become defaulters and their names appeared in the CIBIL list. Appearing in the CIBIL list at a future date when they were looking for further revenues from the banking industry, they were not able to get it. Then they looked into the subsidy component. They did not look into the opportunities being made available. The Integrated Rural Development Program was a unique program. See, I still remember, with permission, I'm telling that, see, for example, I'm telling you, there is Mr. Samir Baruah, who is now owner of Bhogali Jalpan. He was working in Assam Tribune. He got a loan of ₹1 lakh from under the 20-point program. He had taken it very seriously, very meticulously. He planned his financial planning. He weighed his enterprise. He gradually started from scratch. And today he is a big name. But then there are hundreds and thousands of them who had also got the similar opportunity. But then they had completely failed to take advantage of this initiative of the government. Rather, they have misused the funds which were given to them by the bank and the government. And ultimately, what had happened, they failed. The failure of the IRDP program is not as such in the program. The failure is because of our people not able to take the benefit out of it. They did not look long term. I normally talk on a subject called career path in business. Like when we join jobs, for example, me, I joined as a probationary officer of Indian Overseas Bank. I could not expect to become the chairman or the general manager of the bank overnight. So I had to go through a career path. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I went to a top position and retired from there. Similarly, in business, once you get a subsidy amount, once you get a small loan from the bank, that is an opportunity. That's an entry point. And if at that entry point we become serious enough and we take the business seriously, then in that case from this 1 lakh and with a transactional relationship with the bank. See, the bank is something unique. All that you require is to open a current account, give a name to your business, open a current account, and do the transactional analysis through the transaction and relationship through the bank. And that transactional relationship will ensure that in future, whatever assistance you require from the bank, if you have got a good track record, the bank will take you to, and sky is the limit for you. Unfortunately, most of our people, they still maintain savings account. They do not have the concept of current account. They are doing business. Yesterday also a gentleman telephoned me from Nagaon. He says that last 10 years I am doing business. I said, do you have some bank accounts? Yes, I have with State Bank of India, with United Bank of India and another bank. I said, do you have current account? No, sir, I'm having savings account. I said, how is it possible on the part of the bank to make a credit appraisal of your requirements based on your savings account? Because your savings account is a household account. All your family expenses, etc., everything has got middled up there. The whole fundamental, the whole basics of credit appraisal in the banking industry is based on the turnover of the business. In case we maintain a current account and exclusively all our receipts and payments, we put it through that account, then the credit summation of it is the turnover. Without paying any extra amount to the accountant or a chartered accountant, your bank itself will work like your chartered accountant. The entire record in the bank, in the computer, will be good enough for you for the future. That's why I very often tell people that if the bank manager wants, he can make a cobbler into Bata and he can make an auto operator into Tata. But unfortunately, our people, because of financial illiteracy and the financial illiteracy in the case of entrepreneurs also, that is why what is happening, they are not able to scale up their operation, they are not able to sustain. In short, I failed because of the program, but because of the people. Yes, the second question. I hope you are clear about this.
Sir, the second question is, many tried to cheat banks to get subsidy loans. Bank loans are misused, led to higher NPA. Capable person also not willing to repay as government may waive their loans.
See, now that is why we will have to, civil society has got a large role to play. And civil society includes the student community. If we are finding that because of the default on the part of the past people, the present people are suffering, we have to create pressure groups in every village, in every district, in every towns and cities. We will have to find out that whether it is a willful default, or it is a willful default, or it is that they are really hard pressed not for paying. So we have to find out whether an alternative redressal mechanism can be formed, whether there can be some startups, there can be some enterprises which can look into these aspects of it. Wherever you see any problem, you see an opportunity, you see an enterprise. Now time has come for the student community also to look into all these areas. Now the bank managers are talking on NPS, and because of NPS we are not able to give loans. That is what they are saying. But then is it a real thing? It is not. Why? Because the non-performing assets is a huge problem as far as the banking industry is concerned, no doubt. But please note, Government of India is taking very positive steps in order to capitalize the banks, recapitalize the banks. Reserve Bank of India is coming out proactively to ensure that the liquidity of you, there is a huge liquidity as far as the banking industry is concerned. They have ability also, but sometimes doubt. But what is happening is that they are not having the willingness to lend. I'm sorry to say so. I know that there's huge contribution of the banking industry there is no doubt about it. They have hugely contributed for the economic prosperity of the country. But today, at a time when we are telling that we need to create job creators, we need to transform job seekers into job creators. We are going into universities, we are going to engineering colleges, and we are urging upon, we are appreciating, and then we are inspiring the youth to take up job creation instead of looking for jobs. So if this is a scenario, in that case, the banking industry definitely will have to come forward proactively, more so in Northeast India, in Assam and all, because we lack in investment funds, we lack in angel funds, we lack in other seed capital, etc. So it is absolutely necessary on the part of the banking industry to shed all inhibitions, come forward, help the youth in setting up of their enterprises. So this is also here an opportunity for our youngsters to look into whether there can be some startups which will provide some comfort to the bank. I'm happy to tell you there are two youths, Mr. Eka and Mr. Gunajit Brahma. I am associated with them as advisor. They are, both of them, they are products of I am Indore, and they have forayed into agriculture, they forayed into organic farming, etc. And they have now come out with the idea of setting up, they have formed a company by the name FinTech. Under this company, what they are trying to say, they are addressing the concerns of the bank. Because they have understood the banks are not able to identify who is genuine and who is not genuine. So they have taken the farming community and they have taken a resolution that what they will do, they will carry out due diligence exercise as far as all the farmers are concerned. And what they will do through the use of technology, they will prepare a scorecard, and then they give like a rating agency, they will give a score to the farmers. And they will tie up with the banks and the financial institutions, and they will try to provide that sort of comfort to the banking industry that you can, looking into all these exercises that we have done, all these farmers are concerned, you can safely lend to them. Here what I'm trying to emphasize is this for the student community, that please understand one thing. Universally, throughout the world, the origin of enterprise is the needs and conveniences of an individual right from the morning he wakes up till the next day morning he wakes up. Please try and understand. In the morning, we need a toothbrush, we need a toothpaste, we need soap, we need the gel, we need this, we need that, we need the vehicle to go to office and things like that. You list out, you'll find so much of requirements are there. Then you find out that all these requirements, the needs and conveniences are met by whom? Are these produced of Assam or Northeast, or these are coming from outside? Is it necessary for everything to come from outside? Can we not have it here? We have 3.5 crore population in Assam. That means we have 3.5 crore consumers in Assam. Similarly, in the country, we have more than 1.3 billion population. We are taking it as a liability. But please note, multinational companies are seeing opportunities there. We are not seeing opportunities in the villages. The multinational companies are seeing a huge market in the villages. I must have told earlier also, they came, Coca-Cola example I am giving, Coca-Cola company came and then they trying to market themselves in the country. They were not succeeding to the extent they wanted. Ultimately, they brainstormed and finally came with a solution that English cannot reach out to the people. We must use the Hindi. We must use Hindi because that is the language of the country. More or less, in tutti frutti, everywhere you go, people are somehow able to communicate. So then they changed the tagline. They said, Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. When they made it Thanda matlab Coca-Cola, then suddenly there was a lot of wave and then See, we have management guru C.K. Prahlad in his book, The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. Very strongly, he has given a very broad overview of the huge potentiality that we are having in the villages. Unfortunately, there is a lot of competition in the cities and towns and all, but in the villages, there is nothing like that. As I had said in my lecture, I had made a mention there stating that the antisocial elements taking advantage of the educated youth going out, they are ruling the villages. I'm not saying that everybody is doing bad or something like this, but now to fill up that gap, collectively we will have to go there. Individually alone we can go and then do some little bit of it, but we will have to collectively do it. So the subject of NPA is an opportunity for a startup. Any problem you see, you can ignite your mind and see whether there is an enterprise there. Find out what are the needs and conveniences of all the people. There also you will find that there is an opportunity. Time has come for a little bit of paradigm shift as far as the mindset is concerned. Because unfortunately, most of the engineering students whom I have met are students whose parents are in jobs. And because their parents are in jobs, they are brought up in a very secure, structured environment, never exposed to the rigors of enterprise. Now, time has come for us to think in terms of enterprise. Other day, Professor Middleton was asking me on ideation. I told him ideation will come from inner self. It will come from meditation. It will come from meditation because meditation will connect you to your inherent like. What we do now in Facebook, like, etc., and all social media. Those are only showing off. But the actual like is there inside us. In Assamese, we say that Antarapa Bhalpua. Antarapa Bhalpua kam to jetya koro ami ketyao bhagori na jao. We never get tired when we are connected to our inner inherent like. And if we can relate our enterprise to that, I guarantee you 100% you'll succeed. What is happening because of lack of ideas, demonstration effect, there is a theory in economics, demonstration effect, that is playing a vital role. Demonstration effect is this, that somebody doing something and is succeeding. Others are aping him. Those who ape him, they go up to a certain level, after that they get tired. That is why that sustainability, what you had told, sustainability is not there because there is no passion. There is no connection with our inner. So in this NPA question, on the second question also, my answer to this in short is this: look for opportunities, whether you can become a solution provider to the banking industry, whether you can play a role in providing that sort of comfort to the banks so that they become proactive and come forward and help our youth to set up their enterprises. Yeah, anything? Any other questions?
Yes, sir. The third question is, self-help group also trying to cheat the bank loans. We cannot find a self-help group functioning for more than 20 to 25 years. They obtain subsidies and close the groups and again reform another groups with other members and apply for loan as new group. How to control and check such situation?
I would say that we must all take it in a mission mode. Tell the people, tell the self-help groups that short-term gain is a long-term pain. If you are taking into business, business is lifelong activity. It is not that I will do something, take the subsidy, then thereafter at the age of 25 I take that, and then at 30 I finish off my. And after that I close all avenues for myself, because nowadays the digitization has come in. Everything is getting recorded. Ratings are there, civils are there. Earlier days it was possible for someone to take a loan from some bank and then later on go to some other bank and raise another loan. Today it is not possible. So this is where the subject of financial literacy comes in for the student community, to go and educate the self-help group people. Educate them that you don't look short term. Look long term. Long term gain will give you a lot of strength, and it will give a lot of good impression to the upcoming prospective entrepreneurs also. Why our parents are not interested in business? Because they had during their days seen a lot of their family members doing business and miserably failed. Now, when we review it, we find that why they had failed because of financial mismanagement, financial accounting, financial management, and financial discipline, which I already touched upon in my lecture. These are certain things. This is very important. Every engineering student, why engineering? We are going on talking on engineering and management students. Why? Engineering gives you a skill and it gives you an analytical mind. MBA is Master of Business Administration. That is why engineering and MBA combination is a lethal combination for someone to become a job creator than becoming a job seeker. That is the advantage that you have got. Since independence, we did not pay much attention on skilling India. Today, that is why despite all these migrant workers, all these daily wage earners being skilled, they are not recognized. Only in 2015, Government of India came out with a policy on RPL, recognizing prior learning. They came with a very simplified format. Within a couple of hours, they will test the cobbler, they will test the artisan, they will test the handloom weaver, they will test the handicraft maker. Within a couple of hours, they will be certified because they are already skilled. So there is no further proof needed for them to get skilled. But at least by providing them with the license or providing them with the recognition, that itself becomes a huge document for them to go to a bank and get assistance. Get the point? So we must understand that financial literacy is something very important and we need to educate. Now these are which things that student community, we are the immediate future citizens of the country. But unfortunately, we are not taking the student community very seriously. We are not taking them into our thought process. We think that we know everything, the students do not know anything. That is wrong. Today, students have huge inputs. They are tech savvy, they have access to information, they have a lot of qualities. That's why many of our people of our generation, when they criticize the young generation, I stand up and say that no, you are wrong. I myself, I am dealing with large number of youths. They're coming out with fantastic ideas. They're doing wonderful work. Many of them have left their corporate jobs and come back. I would like to inspire, I would like to, with conviction, tell all of you that there are huge opportunities in Assam in Northeast. The other day, the Startup Assam initiative was taken when Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, then Thailand, Bangladesh, all people came. There I still remember Mr. Sunil Seth, who is the chairman of Myanmar Chamber of Commerce. He is heading the Adani group in Myanmar. They are building a huge container depot there. He is telling that since 2011, Myanmar has changed. With the civil government coming in, they have become very proactive and their policies are very clear. They said for doing business, if you have the proper documents and you have the proper sort of compliance here, then within 1 month you get all clearances. So there are huge opportunities for us under the Act East policy. You understand, all of you understand that 98% of the Northeast, 98% of the border of Northeast is international border. 2% chicken snake is only connecting us to the mainland India. So that means through wherever we go out, we will find a foreign country. When we find a foreign country and we find that they are economically lesser here than us, then there is a huge opportunity for us also into looking into exports and entering into trade and commerce with them. Then we can make it here. Instead of a product getting made in Gujarat, we make it here. I am giving broad sort of, I think overshooting time, I do not know. I am not overshooting time because that time we started little late. But I am giving you that sort of confidence that where there is a will, there is a way. I walk the talk. I am 68 today. I think age is just a number. I still feel I am 28. I invested in health. That's why I'm fine today. Youngsters, you also invest in your health. Don't abuse your health. Health is wealth. These are all fatherly sort of or senior year or year. I'm giving you a little bit of year. These are important things that if you keep your health fine, then in that case you will have that enthusiasm. You'll have that enterprise in you. Otherwise, you will get tired. Now, because you are young, you are able to sustain. After 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'll find it extremely difficult to sustain. I love all of you. I like all of you. I have huge confidence in all of you. That's why I'm telling you all these things. And my number, my email ID, etc., is available with you anytime you would like to contact. I am readily available. I have given an open sort of year to entire state of Assam and Northeast. Anybody having any banking related issues, they can just call me. And I'm not telling that I will be able to succeed in giving them a solution right away, but at least I can give a patient hearing and to prove my year, whatever is possible, at least I can correct them if I find that they have not been doing correctly. And all this I am doing it absolutely free of cost. I'm not charging anything. I'm doing as a service. Wow. Do you are liking it, disliking it, my talk, my yeah? Can I have a feedback on that?
So it's really very energetic, sir.
Huh?
And sir, it's really
Yes,
very
sir. Thank you so
energetic
much,
and
sir.
surely, sir.
I said no, I'm a student now. I am last 5 years I'm doing my PhD. That is over. This is submitted to the university. I'm just waiting for the viva. But that passion continued, and that drive and passion it continued. And a lot of people were saying that, how did you get all this? I said, I don't know. It is only out of my concern for the youth. My entire research work is based on my concern for the youth, my concern why the banks are not coming forward and helping the youths.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So thank you so much. Sir. It's very motivating, and I'm 100% sure that participant of today 60, the 10 to 20%, let's say about 12 to 20 people will take away very in a positive way, and then also they will implement it. Everybody will take positive way that is there, but this 10, 12 to 15 people will really apply this in their personal life. So thank you so much. And if you have any more question to the speaker, you are please welcome to us. As it is introduced in the beginning, he is a former corporate general manager of Indian Overseas Bank, so he can understand the market or the scenario between different countries. How it is required and how it is been placed before the country GDP or the country progress. So it's open to us, please.
Students must keep on questioning.
Yeah, I hope so. I think they are cleared. And I'm scanning it, but I didn't see. I think you have already answered all these questions, so probably not much is left out. Yes, so that's there. So sir, thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time and guiding our people. Yes, this is very much important. Financial knowledge, and this finance team is very much required everywhere, from the Adani to the rickshawala to the farmer who plow in the field. That's everywhere. This is required, and understanding of that is one of the key to be a successful or happy life. We cannot say that I'm very much holy and I don't need money anymore, or because in today world to live to at least live in a ecological system also we need a minimum. Like for example, you want to buy a seed, you want to buy a kits for plow the instrument or a kits you call it, that's also required money. And also you want to suppose these days we cannot say so our health are so much affected this and that, you can have a medical emergency. So for that also we need the money, because you cannot say that I will give you a tomato and treat my son or treat me. This is not possible these days. So financial literacy and financial management is required. So thank you so much for guiding our participant, and hopefully in future also we will be doing this, and after this COVID we'll penetrate, and also from this workshop we'll try to figure it out how many people are also coming in that, so we can have a network in a satellite of network from different part of the country, taking care of their own villages or their own locality, and then connecting with us. Also we'll try to exchange whatever advisory services or whatever solution that shared by a different village or different part of the state can be transferred. Like immediately what I was thinking in this is that we'll try to figure it out what the villages is required, because that was like in the open end that we cannot come to any conclusion. So then accordingly the similar may be required in some other part also. Like for example, you are very good in finance, I work a little bit on water, so this all can come together to make a sustainable village economy or a sustainable village system. So thank you so much, Mr. Baruah, for this.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I say that engineering college, veterinary, agriculture,
Yes,
all of you also try to have a platform.
Right, sir. And this says this workshop, I'm very blessed to inform you that we have a participant throughout the country. I was seeing one of the participants were from Bihar, and some are from the, of course, the different fraternity, not from civil engineering particularly, so they are there. So that would be a very good, interdisciplinary learning or interdisciplinary synergic relation for, upscaling our villages. Yes.
No, that is very nice. Only one small thing. I have not answered to the question which I had posed before Padmini. Padmini, the answer is this. You are a young girl brought up in a town or a city. So there is nothing wrong that you have got yourself acclimatized to a lifestyle which you expect that when you go to a village, first thing that must strike you that you need a bedroom with an attached bath.
Yes, sir.
Because that you have become accustomed to it, and that is a minimum requirement. First thing which must come to your mind is, if I have to go and stay in the village, I need a proper place where I can go and stay. This is where the civil engineering department of your year comes in. Can we come out with dwelling houses in the villages? Can we make a proposal before a bank? Because the banks have got the loan scheme for financing a house.
Yes, sir. Hello. Is this I'm disconnected or the Mr. Baruah is disconnected?
No, don't need to.
But Padmini,
I think
can you
Yes, sir.
listen?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
I think we lost him.
Okay. Mr. Baruah, I think the network at your end is a little bit issue. We cannot hear you clearly. Hello.
So I think he has left.
He probably has disconnected. Oh yeah, is there, sir? Hello. We are not able to hear. Yes, sir. You are muted, sir. Mr. Baruah, you are muted. Mr. Baruah, you are muted.
No, it's okay now.
Yes.
No, I'm finished. I am finished. Only thing what I am saying is this: that the civil engineering department think in terms of making dwelling houses low cost and making such type of building, supposing such type of a in the village, where you allow all the representative of the implementing agencies to stay, Let them pay rent for that, no problem. There will be a revenue earning on that. And then once that facility is there, in the dining table itself, all the people, when they meet in the morning or in the evening, they solve most of their problems. And they,
Yes,
when they
sir.
stay in the villages, they get connected to the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a plan for that, sir. I already discussed with one of the students, to use the, indigenous material in building housing system.
Yes.
Like for example, the rice has, bamboo, and then, the clay, which was in our olden time, our houses are like that only. So we wanted to integrate with our own technology.
Yes.
And that, yeah, when I was in Dresden, the temperature between outside and inside is huge, but inside you don't feel anything. So those things also we are planning to use our indigenous material.
That is why I'm saying that everywhere there is an opportunity. Let us look at opportunity and convert that opportunity into enterprise.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Borwa.
Thank
So
you.
it was very nice talking with you and sharing.
My blessings and good wishes to all of you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Let COVID be over, I would look forward to come physically to your institute and then meet all of you.
Yes. Would love to.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Yeah. Bye then. Yes.
Bye.
So participant, I'm going to share this one, the feedback. My apology, I was so involved in the discussion, then, I forgot to share that. So just wait for a moment. This is in minutes, you are going to get this one. Where is this? Yeah. So please share this, fill up all this information because it is required. So it will be off by 15 minutes from now. So let's say this is 12:19. So let's say by 12:30 it will be close. 12:35. Okay, let's say so. By 12:35 it will be lock. Thank you so much. So see you in the afternoon. Bye bye.